Hey. Welcome. Rise and Thrivers. We're like, hey, we're here. Um, it is a brand new month. First Monday, March 4th. Here we are at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are ready to have some real talk. And have a fabulous topic this month. As you may or may not be aware of, it is the month of March, and we are talking about the month of women and women empowerment. So before we go anywhere and get into this topic where my sister will be taking this strong and hard, I'm going to just give you a brief reminder of who we are. We are Rise and Thrive Together. Are a vibrant community committed to educate and empower and equip you to get the results you want through real talk, real actions, and real results. So, without any ado, I'm excited to bring on my sister. Hello, Raquel. Welcome to our first episode of March as we're kind of coming to the end of the first quarter.
I know, that's so crazy. It went so quickly, I guess I could say that. I also want to make mention that March is multiple sclerosis awareness as well. Let's put that out there. Um,
Yes.
it's a whole lot in the month of March, and we just selected Women's History Month. International Women's Day is, I believe, next Friday, which is the 8th, I
Yes, the
believe.
8th. Yeah,
And so what
this
we just
Friday.
want to always encourage, empower, inspire, motivate women. Not that we don't want to that we want to ignore the men, but I don't think there's a men's history month. I think it's women's history. And so we just really and truly value and appreciate both men and women, but we will be highlighting women for the month of March. And we've got a great lineup coming
Mm-hmm.
up. And we'll tell you about our guest next week later on. That's women empowerment and what that means. So
Yeah,
what about
I'm
women
going
empowerment?
through
What does
right
that
now
mean?
this
What does that mean to you
experience.
when you hear?
Mm. So right now I'm like coming back in because you were freezing for me. You were so powerful that you were slowing down the internet, and I just picked up your words. I think you and I have spoken about this. Um, One of the reasons why we chose to get together and really create this, right? Rising and thriving together. We're very specific about looking at a name and choosing a company that is not individual, right? It's great. I'm me, you're you, we do our thing. But what does it look like when we're able to have at least one other person with you? And that empowerment comes from what I really love is how you listen. We'll just do straight up like real talk from here to there. I will share something. I might be either, hey, learning something and I'll reach out to you and you have a way of listening, right? The way that you listen, I feel really supported and really like you really care about what I'm talking about. Then you come up with some great questions that have me go deeper and to kind of be like, hey, did you ever think about this? Or this is what came up for me. And that again, for me, empowers me and encourages me to, go either look deeper into that because I might not know the answer. There's this really great experience of empowering, having people feel like they're supported along each part of whatever that journey is for them. And that's what empowerment is for me. I'm feeling supported. I'm feeling, yeah, there are times like the big cheerleader of it, right? Like, but it's not, I don't always want that, like, how can I say it? Like, being like, yeah, like we don't always agree, right? But there's a way that we're spoken to one another. There's a respect, there's an equality. There's not a you're better than me and I'm better than you. That's on me if I'm feeling that way, right? We talk about mindset a lot here. So inside of that empowerment piece, if I'm feeling like, oh, I feel lesser than, then that's something on me. But I always have that space. I feel very safe with you. I feel very safe in this community. Um, Even if I'm not feeling safe, when I'm with somebody who is that person for me, then I feel I'm empowered. I'm able to push to that next level. That's how that kind of occurs for me at this moment. How about
Okay.
you?
I like that. That's smooth. There is, for me, empowerment is, like you said, feeling heard. And what I want to hear from the listeners is one, how you feel empowered.
Mm,
And two, how do you empower someone else? So I really need audience participation. We really need audience
yeah.
participation tonight as we talk about it. And looking this up, about empowerment, I found something about one way women feel empowered is when you know yourself.
Mm,
Because we use a lot of words. And the past week, I was on a webinar with a ton of speakers. I was listening, I was in the virtual audience. And there were a ton of speakers, and they targeted knowing who you are, and being first to do something doesn't mean that you're crazy. All it means is that you're first. But knowing yourself is really important. And two things they touched on is self-worth and self-confidence. And I know there have been times in my own life where I wasn't so sure and I didn't know my own worth, right? And what I found was when I didn't know, when I was going through life and just living life and not knowing my own worth, then people treat me however they want. Right? When you don't know your worth, you'll allow people. And sometimes that's just not people that are close to you. That could also be an employer. You'll let an employer take you for granted and have you do a whole bunch of things and not value you because you didn't value you.
mm,
And so that's why for me it's really key that as women we get to know who we are. What are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts on knowing who you are and knowing your self-worth? Now that I know my self-worth, it's highly unlikely that I will allow somebody to treat me as less than. Here's how I see me. I see me as a green diamond. I'm still hooked on that green diamond, sis.
yeah, yeah.
I see me as a green diamond, which is a precious stone. I am not an emerald. I am not semi-precious, and you can't treat me as semi-precious, which is less than. You will treat me as a green diamond, and if you cannot, then we may have to part ways. And there comes in boundaries that we talked about last month, making the connection of having boundaries because I know my self-worth, because I know who I am, and more importantly, whose I am. I will not allow someone to mistreat me. And on the off chance that I do, I shouldn't blame them.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, it's beautiful what you were saying of smooth. I'm giving you that like tennis racket back, hitting it back because that was smooth. Really, what came up for me, so I have a question back to you is, I love how you described yourself as that rare, precious stone, right? It's not, there's a ton of emeralds. We are all unique. I love that. And was like, so how do you know, right? So Steph, my girlfriend, Steph is in knowing whose you are. She loves that. She's like knowing whose you are. Um, so when you're saying like boundaries, how to treat you, and you're knowing yourself, how do you do that? How are you letting people know who you are? Because often we're just back and forth, talking over one another. Like, this is what we love about this show because we get an opportunity to say, like, we wouldn't know each other without taking a chance of number one, listening and being very clear how we're going to communicate to one another, what we need, what we are, hey, not right now. And inside of empowerment, especially when you're texting, you can read it one way, and that's on me. So I have to be then clear to step and say, again, hey, by the way, X, Y, and Z. So I'm just curious, how do you get somebody to know you, Raquel, and all of, you, so that they have an understanding of, really getting into your zone and empowering one another. And then I'd love to read what Susan wrote.
So the one thing I have to be is vulnerable. If I'm going to let people in, I've got to allow myself that space to be vulnerable. And once you occupy a certain space, because listen, everybody is not my friend. Although I have 700 plus people on Facebook or what have you, they're not all friends. I consider them people I know and they're associates. When you're a friend, you get to know me because I open up who I am to you. As an associate, we don't have that close relationship. So for me, it really does depend on that closeness. I always tell people about boundaries. I tell people right away what my boundaries are. Please do not speak to me like you have lost your entire mind and you're not even holding on to a piece of it. I even do this with my students. I set the boundaries on the first day of class. I say, if you
Mm,
have to speak to me like I'm a person, and please don't think I'm your peer because I'm really not. And I'll say that with anyone, speak to me. Don't speak at me because there is a difference. Speak to
difference.
me as a person, value me as a person. But people tend to, for myself, that's one thing that's big. I set the boundaries, I let people know. Because if you don't tell them, they don't know how to treat you. And another way is how I treat myself and talk to myself. I don't say, oh my God, I'm so stupid,
Right.
because I'm really not. I am not a stupid person. And if people hear you saying that about yourself, if it's not true, then my question is, why are you saying it?
Love
All
it.
you did
And
was
this,
make a mistake. And that usually comes when people are making a mistake. They're like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. That was so easy. Why didn't I figure it out? I'm such an idiot. And absolutely not. Stop saying that about yourself because it is absolutely not true. And it breaks my heart when I hear other people saying that about themselves because it is not who you are. What you did was make a mistake. And that's all it is. You wanted to read somebody's comment
yes.
though.
So right now, Stacy wrote, just wrote right in. Thanks, Stacy, for being on here. So great to have you join us. She says it's so important to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is strength.
Mhm.
Love to like
And it's
have you
interesting
share
because most people don't see that as a strength. They see it as a weakness and they want to
weakness.
protect themselves so much. They refuse to be vulnerable with sometimes the people they're in a relationship with.
Yep. Somebody I'd love to throw out there who is a master in that. So I'm gonna do a plug, Bené Brown. Come on in. The courage about vulnerability, because that's her brilliance. Is talking about how vulnerability is strength and courage.
Mhm.
Love it, Steph. Empower yourself with words equals 2 ears, one mouth. Love, love, love that. But Susan Schaefer has a big one up here. I feel empowered when I have a breakthrough from I can't to I can. And mostly that occurs during a conversation with people who know and support me. She says, I've reached the age and the stage where I know who I am, what I'm worth, and that empowers me to take more risks. I love it. I empower people by listening to them deeply for who they are and what they are worth and reflecting it back to them. As someone
Mm.
said to me, I listen to people, and I don't know where the rest of it is. I listen to people as, hold on, oops, it's like coming on and off. Sorry, Susan. I'm trying to like get to see it. Okay, I got it. I listen to people as if they can. That is that's powerful. And I think that's exactly
Mhm.
what Susan summarized everything we were just saying, taking the best of what you said and what I said, which really comes from knowing yourself. She goes those breakthrough from those what we call limiting beliefs, those low vibrational conversation, I can't, I'm stupid, all of that, to I can, I am smart, I am strong. And then it comes from the conversations she's having with people
Mhm.
who know and support her, and then she knows who she is at this point in the stage of her life. She knows her worth, and she's able to empower people, like I said to you, Raquel, and how she is for me as well. She's a good friend of ours, that by listening to them deeply for who they are. So she listens, and that's, I think, what we're trying to say. If you listen to people for who they are in their true strengths. So if we're listening to someone, and I'll use a perfect example. If I'm upset and I'm having an argument with my husband, how am I really listening to him? I'm not listening to his greatness. I'm not listening to his, strengths. My daughter, right? Upset with her. I know who she truly is. I know who she truly is. But if I'm listening from those ears of, she's not listening, she's so frustrating, she's blah blah blah, that's not empowering her. I get to be that one. If I can listen and be quiet as she's going through something difficult, the way I empower her is to listen to her like, okay, she's got my full attention. Wow, she's going through something, she's trying to express that. And maybe sometimes she has a little bit harder because she's younger. I go through that same thing. I have a hard time expressing. And then she feels safe, right? And she feels secure. And then I'm able to empower her by maybe giving her a word of encouragement, maybe just giving her a hug. And that's, really beautiful because who we really are not stupid, like you said, and, you know, dumb. And, people have, what can I say? People can have actions that bother me, right? Actions, but they're not bothersome people. They're not stupid people. They may be reacting to a certain way that causes something, but they're not. We tend to say that person's a jerk, that person's an idiot, that person's like whatever. So that's how that
So
came up
I
for me.
heard how in your conversation, I heard how you empower your daughter and how you empower your husband. My question to you, since this is about women, how do you
Yes.
empower yourself?
It's exactly what we were talking about. It is, I literally start my day every day, and I have stuff posted, if you were behind the screen, on my mirror. I have it on my phone. I have it on my laptop. I have cards. I have sayings all over the stuff. I listen all the way to wherever I'm driving to, words that I get to say about myself. So I start every morning with the words that I know myself to be. And those words are the words that I say to myself about who I am. So I empower me by writing it, saying it, speaking it, listening to it. And that is who I truly am. And that's how I empower myself throughout the whole entire day. And there are times when, you're running from place to place. And it happened to me today, like I was telling you before I got on the show. And then I go into my bag and I take something out. I even have those cards in there, So
Hmm.
it's just it's always this like beautiful reminder. And that's truly my practice. I kind of wake up everywhere and it's like all around me, from candles in my my bathroom to like the journal that I have is truly what I feel about myself and my relationship.
Hmm.
So that's how I do it. How about you?
Awesome. Awesome. I empower myself by praying. That's how I start my
Oh,
day.
that's stuff
I
too.
have
Yeah, me too. Yep.
my mornings are quiet. I don't have TV, radio, nothing. It's just
Mhm.
me and my thoughts. Can't run from them. And
Mhm.
I'm also learning to control my thoughts because when I'm having my quiet time, those thoughts, those nagging thoughts about everything I have to do today and who I've got to talk to, and none of that is important. So I really do have to sit and be quiet, and I pray, and I have my affirmation like you. I have one on my mirror in the bedroom, and I repeat that, and I
Yeah.
repeat that. And let me tell you, those limiting belief thoughts that we've talked about, we need to have a conversation about that another time because
Yes.
sometimes those limiting beliefs, those thoughts that come, if we see them a different way and put a spin on it, they don't limit us anymore.
Hmm.
But that's another conversation. Something I found today as I was doing some just researching is function of empowerment. And that is to focus on your strengths and your abilities. Every single person has weaknesses. None of us, I don't think, I'm going to take a bold stand. None of us walk up to someone we just met and say, "Hi, I'm Raquel. My weaknesses are I have a lack of patience. I don't like raisins. I don't like when people lie." We don't do that. We want to put forth our I don't, I believe no one on this call does that.
Yeah.
We put forth our strengths. And there's the thing is, some people don't believe they have a strength. And every single person, we are here to encourage you. You have a strength. And it may mean you have to sit and take time to think about it. Then I suggest you do that. I suggest you spend some time with you, do some introspection, and find what's your strength, and you focus on that. And if you really don't know, best people to ask are your friends. It would
Mm,
be amazing to see how others see you. And once you hear that, something may resonate with you. But we're talking about getting empowered here. Another one is supporting and encouraging involvement in decision making. Supporting and encouraging. Our goal, our job here is not to tear people down. We are here to help build people up. Each and every single one of us that's listening, that's on this call everywhere, is to build people up. But we have a tendency to tear people down because we don't feel good about ourselves. So I need company down here. No, we need to start seeking to build people up. And women, I'm going to talk about it because Reg and I were talking about it. This gossiping stuff about other people, let's not do that. Let's not. Let's stop. If you're doing that, let's stop. Because my question to you is, what purpose is it serving
mm,
when you gossip about someone else? And usually it's somebody that's your friend. What's the purpose? Why do we do that? Why do we think that's necessary to break somebody else down so that we can feel good about who we are? Question. That's a real question. Question mark.
yeah, I love it. Gossip, like, let me tell you, we were talking about it, and I just want to do share with people, for those people, know I have a daughter in school, and that is one of their of the lessons of February into March. So my daughter's coming home sharing, you know, some things that she's learning in school. And she's like, I learned about what gossip is. And she's kind of taking accountability for some stuff that she was sharing. So she's constantly questioning, is this gossip? Or is this not?
Mm,
Is this gossip? So it's a beautiful way. And I want to thank the public education system because I'm not always positive about it. But I am very much for this part. And yes, what you were saying, because I just shared that story about that. I've got like something I want to kind of twist, but while we're here, since you're looking up all this great stuff, and I was just going back to like, it's been a long time to look at that history of women's empowerment. I was like wow, I'm just looking in the United States in itself, right? Just in the United States, of saying that the first time ever when you're having a milestone in this women's history is the first women's rights convention, which was like in 1848. And then, because it was going after like the Declaration of Independence, right? All men and all women are created equal. And then it wasn't until 1920 when we were granted the right to vote. And
mhm,
then, all as women's empowerment, women came together to fight for all of the equal rights, and they were mistreated along the way. So I just was like, for me, I'm just curious for you. And here we are at 1920, the right to vote, and then I can go through the rest of the history. It's a I'll put that in the link of just getting this. But I was just amazed because I'm like, we have come so far as women to empower one another, and how much behind I sometimes feel that it is. And then when you say when we tear each other down, that just hit me, because as I'm like, wow, if everybody can get really clear about what we are going through and what we've gone through, and then all of a sudden we're still tearing each other down, it just is like almost 15 steps backwards. I just wanted to throw that out
mm,
there, get your thoughts about that.
wow.
And I saw my friend Colleen jump in here too. Right?
So let's see. Colleen said women should be empowering all other women all year round, not just during Women's Month. It can be
Yes.
as simple as an authentic compliment to a complete stranger that can light them up Whoops, kindness comes easy because it's based on truth. I agree
Mm,
with Colleen. I used to compliment one woman a day. And it's easy to compliment a friend, but I compliment just a random person on the street. I don't care if it was the simplest thing. You just don't know how that'll impact a person's day, right? It's always about complimenting. I would say, oh my gosh, I love your hair color. Perfect example. Thank you for bringing this to my remembrance, Colleen. I went to the supermarket, Whole Foods, yesterday. I don't know what day it is. It's Sunday. And like everyone else, I saw someone who worked there and I went over and I was like, "Excuse me, can you tell me?" And then I was like, "Nope, let me back up." And I literally said, "No, let me back up." I said, "How are you?" She looked at me shocked and then she smiled and she's like, "I'm fine. Thank you. How are you?" "I'm doing well. Thank you." I said, "By the way, I love your hair color." She had an awesome hair color. And then I asked for what I wanted, but I caught myself rushing into just what I want, and it wasn't about seeing her as a person, but as a person who works in the store, and I needed assistance. And I caught myself. I was like, no, let me stop. Let me back up. How are you? And that totally caught her off guard. And then I went back the next day and she remembered me and we had a brief exchange. But it was just like, how are you? And we don't take enough time to do that. Here's a challenge. How about we compliment one woman a day forever? I don't want to say just this week and
yeah.
then next week you stop. But let's just compliment women. It takes nothing off of someone to say, hey, that's really pretty. That's this, that's that. You really and truly don't know the impact that you have on that person. You could have just made their day. And how awesome would that be? How great do they feel when you say it? I know people that say it to the person they're walking with, like a friend. They'll say it to their friend, oh, Reg, I like that lady's shoes over there. And my response is always, then go tell her.
Yeah.
Just go tell her you like her shoes.
But I
But
think it's
thank you.
powerful. Like, yeah, no, Colleen, it was great, and she's correct. And going back to like history, the fact that all the way at the end of the history is we're up to a month, right? Like we have a month. Like we fought for the month to have this. Where Raquel, you said something powerful in the beginning, which was there isn't a Men's History Month, and that's deep, right? We get this month to finally celebrate and show where we've come from, where we're at now, but see how far we still have to go when we're creating a month
Mm.
where there's is there that
And I'll
equality?
tell you, right,
Yeah.
right. And I'll tell you, ladies, it's more than a month.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't empower, encourage, and inspire someone, another woman, in a month. You should, as I said, we should always be doing that. We as women have more power than we think we do.
Mm-hmm.
And when we realize the power that we hold in our hands, we'll put it to good use and do good with it, right? There's no one that can come, a man can't deliver a kid. We do need them to put their half, and we put our half, but women give birth. Women are strong. Together, we are a force to be reckoned with.
Mm.
And I'm not saying this in a bad way and anti-men. Please don't misconstrue my words. If that's what I wanted to say, I would have said it. But it is about women coming together and building and creating. We had the right to vote back in 1920. That was women coming together. If we do a whole lot more of that, just imagine what we can do. And I don't want to say we'll take over the world like Pinky and the Brain, but we are powerful. We, we are so powerful. And we shortchange and sell ourselves short all the time.
I love
We
it.
think, no, we can't do this. We put everybody else in front of us. Else goes in front of us. It's okay. I give you permission. The doctor gives you permission to put yourself first. Because if you don't take care of who you are mentally, physically, and emotionally, you cannot take care. And I know I use the word cannot, Susan. You cannot take care of someone else if you don't take care of you first. I tell people this children don't listen to what we say, they listen to what we do.
Do.
And yes, I heard what I said. They listen to what we do because that
Yep.
speaks volumes. You know, we have this thing, action speaks louder than words. Absolutely true.
Yep. I love
But
it.
oh my gosh,
We are,
sis, what do
I
you
know
have
it's
to say?
pretty, I know. I wanted you to finish and it's all good. It's really, really beautiful. I do want to put up that we have an amazing guest next week. So Kirill, if you can put up who that is, because we are going to take this to the next level. We have a
It's
beautiful guest.
Hanan Marabi. Her story is absolutely incredible. And she will talk about the legacy of me and not in a selfish way by any means. Please don't get it
Woo!
twisted. She is an amazing young woman. She has an incredible story to share. And we have other women coming on for the rest of this month that have powerful stories because together we are a powerhouse. And we've got to know that. As an individual, you are powerful. Surround yourself with those people, with that energy. And those negative people, kind of put them on the side. That's all right.
Let's leave it with Susan's last big one. There are strong forces today fighting the rights and the power of women. We won the right to vote with public action and received beatings for it. It's an ongoing declaration, and that will die if we don't keep it in the forefront. Susan, that just gave me
Absolutely. And
chills.
Colleen, real quickly, if every woman in the US voted, we would see how truly powerful we
Woo!
are. We have the ability to change the elections, especially this year. This is what I'm saying to you. We just had two women write in and they both said the word powerful. You are a powerhouse. Take that stance. Stop walking and standing with your shoulders slumped forward and your head down. I don't want to see the top of your head. Push those shoulders back and you stand straight and erect. It'll change. Changing your physical state will change your mental state. I can't think sad when I'm standing in a powerful position. I'm going to
And
wrap this
together,
up. We are so honored that you all were here. Join us for the rest of forever, for the rest of this month, because we've got some real powerhouse women coming on. And remember, together, we can rise and thrive. Till next time.